Hi, welcome to Introducing Office 365. We're going to go through today the new Office email system that we're going to be using for Kansas State University. Some of the questions we have is, when is this going to be happening? All faculty, staff, student employees will be able to access Office 365 in January. The next question we get quite often is who and what. All faculty and staff members, all student employees, all group and shared accounts, and all rooms and resources will be migrating over to Office 365. Now, what is exactly migrating for each group? For faculty, staff, group accounts, shared accounts, rooms and resources, email, calendar, contacts, and to-dos will migrate to Office 365. For student employees, the only thing that will migrate is email. The big question we have is, will the email addresses change? No, the email addresses are the same. Both ksu.edu and k-state.edu will still continue to work getting you your email to your inbox. So you do not need to update any of your business information, business cards, letterheads, any of that information. We have a few known idiosyncrasies. One of the big ones is exceptions to reoccurring meetings do not migrate. What this means is if you set up a reoccurring meeting inside of Zimbra and you changed it at some point, it will default back to its original date. The next one we have is new filters do not process old email. What this means is once you set up an email filter inside Office 365, it will not process old email natively. You have to go through a couple options to get it to run run the filters for old email. If you accept or decline a meeting, do not select do not send the response. What this does is it causes issues with the meeting. It doesn't say that you are going, you're not going, you're tentative. It doesn't give a response, and then it moves the message into your trash. Then if your trash is ever emptied, then it will remove that meeting from your calendar, and if you don't respond, it won't stay there. So a few things that we need to go over is prepping for this transition. What we recommend is you print a few days of your Zimbra calendars and even a couple weeks if need be if you manage rooms and resources so that you know an active schedule of what's happening. The next thing is you need to download your briefcase data if you want to keep it. We have some knowledge base articles that I will show where to locate those at later on. But the main thing is that the briefcase does not transfer. So if you want that data, you need to try to download it beforehand. Other things you need to do is you note any filters that you want to recreate, any shares you may want to do, email folders, calendars, and also note any contact lists that you may have. These will not migrate over to Office 365. The other thing is the day before the migration, we recommend deleting your mobile device settings before the migration, just so that when you come in, you set up with a fresh account. It doesn't delete your emails from the webmail, it just removes the account from your phone. Next, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the full-featured email clients we have. For Windows, we have Outlook 2010, Outlook 2013, and the Outlook web app, which is webmail.ksu.edu. For Mac, we have Outlook 2011, Apple Mail, Contacts, and Calendar, and also the Outlook web app. Again, that's webmail.ksu.edu, or you can access that web app from the main web page or any of those other sources that you access Zimbra Mail currently online. Next, we're going to talk about the client information. The difference between a desktop client and a web app are some different features. On the desktop client, you can view up to 30 calendars, versus on a web app, you can only view 5 calendars at a time. That doesn't mean you can't have multiple calendars shared with you. It's just that only actively viewing them, you can only see 30 on the desktop and 5 on the web app. The other thing about having a desktop client is there is more advanced permission management in Outlook 2010 and also Outlook 2013. The Outlook web app has a lot of these same features, it's just as some more advanced permission management is set in those 2010 and 2013 Outlook clients. The other thing to note is a client is a sync process. Changes made in a client may not reflect immediately on the web or elsewhere. So if you delete an email or you delete an appointment, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be instantaneous that it's going to remove the calendar. It has to sync. It can be a few seconds, it could be a couple minutes, all depends on your network connection. The first thing to do when you come in on the day that we migrate is you'll have to set up your time zone. This is very important because it defaults to 0 time, which is Reykjavik. If you don't set up the time zone at that point, it you start scheduling appointments, it will just have some side effects of changing the appointment date to the 0 time zone compared to Central Time Zone. The next thing you'll want to do is configure mobile devices for Outlook, Apple Mail and Calendar, and any other type of system that you're using with your K-State email. The next thing is to reshare calendars and folders. This has to go through because your shares do not migrate, so you have to reshare all those information. If you have multiple calendars, you have to put all those reshares in and all that information. The last thing that you will have to do on that day is you'll have to want to check your email and calendar information to make sure there's no errors. If there is anything askew, you can report it to the IT help desk and they can route it to the appropriate people to get back the information. The other thing we like to ask is that you share issues and findings on Yammer. It's a group, I'll show you how to get access to it later, that has kind of a forum-based setup where you can ask a question, it gets responses, and you can also look at past questions asked. Now we move on to some of the resources that we have. We have a web page here that is Office 365. You can go there and it's our main web page that has all the information here. We also have our knowledge base where we have several articles about all the different clients that are the full featured and the Outlook web app and information. Right now we're going to go look at the Office 365 page. Here you'll see that we have the Office 365 page. On the right side we have the introductions to Office 365, which is a presentation much similar like this with a demo built into it, where this one will have a demo separate. So you have here, you also have down here is the PowerPoint presentation right here. You can click on that on the web page and it can pull up the presentation and you can look over these slides once again. Some of the other things to note is that we have here is we have a pre-migration information page. This pre-migration page has some checklists for faculty and for staff, students, and stuff to go through. Also over here on the right page we have the K-State IT knowledge base, and we're going to go ahead and take a look inside of there real quick and show you what this knowledge base looks like. So this is the K-State IT knowledge base. This is where you can find all the articles you want to do. You'll have to scroll down the page a little bit to get to Office 365, but we have 3 groups. We have Office 365 email, Office 365 calendar, and Office 365 general. Now if you're looking for specific calendars and you don't see it actively, if you click on this view all items for that particular section, it will show you all the articles. There are multiple pages of articles, so you may have to go through and look for multiple ones. The other thing you can also do is back on this page, at the top of the page, is you can do a search. So if you're looking for something very specific, you can put in a search to look for that keywords and some of the information you want to look up. Going back to this page, all these links here are all links to current knowledge base articles. So it'll pull those up. We update those constantly to make sure they're up to date and they're going. We also have down here for sysadmins some checklists for their departments to go through to make sure that they're ready for this migration. The next thing I want to point out is this post-migration information page. This is a checklist for when you come in that day that we migrate over, and you can change your information and see how things are going. So also again here is the K-State IT knowledge base, and we also have down here is we have the migration for Yammer group. This is the group that you can post questions, look at people's answers, kind of get out there, and it's kind of a community response to get the correct answer out there, and articles created for that we can do. We recommend going there to kind of look for questions. If you have any, if you haven't asked them already, post them there. We try to get back to you as soon as we can. The other one I want to point out is help and support. This right here is some key information right here. It goes to the articles specifically for, Outlook web app, Outlook 2010 for Windows, Outlook 2011 for Mac, email client configurations, mobile device creations. We have a lot of information here that we want to pass along to you as a user, and we have it readily available, and we try to we find new articles, we'll try to put them in there as soon as we can so that we have this living database of information that you guys can use. After that, you can contact the help desk here. There's information. You can email helpdesk at k-state.edu, and they can put a ticket in and get it routed to when you do. You can also give them a call, and they can do the same. So now we're going to move on, after seeing the knowledge base and the resources, and it's going to be time for a demo. Please view the demo video now for some of these features that we're going to go through, and have a nice day.